Good morning, and thank you all for coming here to dedicate this garden to my son, Niall. I am very grateful for the number of people who have taken the time and care to be with us today. Niall's stepfather, Sadair, who gave so much of his heart to Niall, is here with us along with his sons, Kayvon and Cullen, my sons too, and his father, Paul, and stepmother, Debbie, who live in Arizona, are here with us in spirit. My parents, who helped me raise Niall, are here too. Although Niall lived a short life, his life was full. He was a young man who lived life on his own terms, always faithful to his unique outlook on life. An outlier, that was Niall. He composed music and wrote poetry, had a wicked sense of humor, and was a good friend. He was also an outstanding Marine and very proud to have become one. I am so very proud of him. This peace garden will be a quiet place, I hope, a place to dream of a better world. We will bring all the classes in the school to this beautiful place to teach them the importance of this garden so they will know how to treat it with reverence. I'd like to read to you an excerpt from an article written by Tom Cilio, a journalist who writes about the military. When Lance Corporal Niall Coti-Sears decided to join the United States Marine Corps, he was emulating a hero. He wanted to follow in his grandfather's footsteps. Niall's grandfather, William Coti, retired, served in the Marines for more than 30 years. Before 2 tours in Vietnam, he fought in the bloody Battle of Chosin Reservoir, one of the Korean War's defining struggles that became known as the Chosin Few. Niall spent many years in his grandfather's basement learning about his grandfather's experience as a Marine, and they would often replicate battles his grandfather experienced in Korea and Vietnam. Niall would know how to throw a grenade at a moment's notice, always exactly focused on the target. He was later trained as a designated marksman in the Marine Corps because of that focus. Before leaving for Afghanistan last March, Niall spoke to 4th graders at the Washington, D.C. school where his mom teaches. One of the boys asked him if he was afraid. He said no. He really believed it was something he needed to do. He got all the kids out on the field to do a Marine-style physical training, giving the exercises names like Spider-Man crawl and Frankenstein walk. The kids loved him. Like Colonel William Coti in Korea and Vietnam, Lance Corporal Niall Coti-Sears selflessly stepped forward to serve in Afghanistan. In choosing to risk his life for others, a proud grandson didn't just emulate a hero, he became one. I want to give thanks to everyone who has made this garden grow. I could spend a lot of time naming everyone, but Mary has put together such a complete program that acknowledges every one of you. Read it and learn about all the loving efforts of the many people who gave their time, expertise, and artful thinking into this beautiful space. Saying that, I would like to give a special thank you to Mary Nesnick, who was the driving force behind this garden and its dedication. She and our Sunshine Committee worked closely to make this garden a very special and sacred place. And those of you who came out here this morning to show your support, you too make this garden grow. And it means so much to me and my family that you came here today. And I know if Niall's around somewhere, he's got to be smiling. Thank you.
How I wish you were here. Where This is a poem, and I was hoping that this would tie in with the memorial garden and my love for Niall. Gone, but not forgotten, this pain I cannot hide. In memory I see you, a million tears I've cried. The tender thoughts you left me come to my memory. Your loving smile, so precious, will always be with me. You visit me in summer when flowers are in bloom, upon a ray of sunshine, a starlit night in June. When winds are blowing across a cloudless sky, wind chimes sing. I see you in the treetops as summer comes to be. In shadows you do linger, a soul young and free. I see you in a garden, your scent does fill the air, just like a precious flower, so colorful and sweet. I hear you in a symphony, dancing musical notes upon a blazing sunset. Your memory can be found. Like springs of morning glory, upon the vine they grow, with branches reaching outward, into my heart you grow. Just like a special angel, God wrapped you in his care and took you to heaven to live singing, playing music, laughter, and love. A true hero, your soul as free as a songbird. I loved you then, I love you now, and I will always love you, Niall. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. Just to put the next 4 minutes in context so you guys know why I'm here doing the song I'm doing. I went to school with Niall in elementary school, and we were friends, and he was one of the first people I ever played music with. And right after I had this trip planned to Europe for last summer with some other people that went to school with Niall and myself, and the way everything worked out, I ended up going straight from Holy Trinity Church to the airport to Germany and then Amsterdam. And this song isn't really about what happened, but it was made, I mean, it's sort of the deeper thing behind everything that happened to all of us on the trip. We'd be hanging out, and we'd find ourselves talking about Niall and sharing stories and everything. So this song sort of came from that. I'll try to play guitar really loud, but I'm too weak to hurt without it showing. I'm too sad to feel the rain come down. I'm too young to see my friends start going. I'm too high to find my way around. It's too bright to be the starlight shining. It's too neon not to be ashamed. It's too red to be my silver lining, but it's beautiful in Amsterdam. Yeah, it's beautiful in Amsterdam. And I may bruise and burn, but I will have my turn to live and lose and learn who I am in Amsterdam. But she's too bold to buy that I'm not listening. I'm too cold to hold back from the glass. She's too cheap to have what I've been missing, but she will distract me if I ask. Yeah, she will distract me if I ask. And I may bruise and burn, but I will have my turn to live Amsterdam. Well, I don't need no 50 states. I just need a warm embrace. And I don't need no 50 states. I just need a little space. La 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 la. I may bruise and burn, but I will have my turn to live and lose and learn who I am in Amsterdam.
The next musical selection it's entitled Down by the Sea. It's a composition written by Niall. It happens to be in the key of C, and I think that's his great sense of humor coming through. Several months ago, Susan had come to me and she had some of Niall's journals, his music manuscripts that he had been writing in when he was a teenager, I believe. And we were able to find it seemed as though he was kind of composing a sonata or a series of movements for solo piano. And I took this music and I was able to transcribe it for flute and piano. And so we have the first two movements. It reminds me a lot of Eric Satie, who was a French impressionistic composer, and Niall was so young when he wrote this. It's kind of incredible. It just has such depth for such a young composer. And so this is Down by the Sea. This is a reading from The Velveteen Rabbit, and this features some students who have devoted a lot of their time. In fact, all of the students here gave up their recess all week and were really compelled to be here today to support our good friend Susan Coti and to support Niall, of course. This is from The Velveteen Rabbit. This is Ethan, Amelia, John, and Caleb.
The Skin Horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was so old that his brown coat was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out to string bead necklaces. He was wise, for he had seen a long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger, and by break their mainsprings and pass away. And he knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like the Skin Horse, understand all about it.
What is real?
Asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender, before Nana came to tidy the room.
Does it mean having things that buzz inside you and a stick-out handle?
Real isn't how you are made. It's the thing that happens to you when a child loves you for a long, long time. Not just to play with, but really loves you. Then you become real.
Does it hurt?
Sometimes.
Said the Skin Horse, for he was always truthful.
When you're real, you don't mind being hurt.
Does it happen all at once, like being wound up, or bit by bit?
It doesn't happen all at once. You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't often happen to people who break easily or have sharp edges or who have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off and your eyes drop out and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you're real, you can't become ugly, except for the people who don't understand.
I suppose you are real?
Said the rabbit, and he wished he had not said it, for he thought the Skin Horse might be sensitive, but the Skin Horse only smiled.
The boy's uncle made me real. That was a great many years ago, but once you're real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always.
The rabbit sighed. He thought it would be a long time before this magic called real happened to him. He longed to become real, to know what it felt like, and yet the idea of growing shabby and losing his eyes and whiskers was rather sad. He wished he could become it without these uncomfortable things happening to him.
One evening, when the boy was going to bed, he couldn't find the china dog that always slept with him. Nana was in a hurry, and it was too much trouble to hunt for china dogs at bedtime. So she simply looked about her, and seeing that the toy cupboard door stood open, she made a swoop. "Here, take your old bunny. He'll do to sleep with you." And she dragged the rabbit out by one ear and put him into the boy's arms. That night, and for many nights after, the Velveteen Rabbit slept in the boy's bed. At first, he found it rather uncomfortable, for the boy hugged him very tight, and sometimes he rolled over on him, and sometimes he pushed him so far under the pillow that the rabbit could scarcely breathe. And he missed, too, those long moonlight hours in the nursery, when all the house was silent, and his talks with the Skin Horse. But very soon he grew to like it, for the boy used to talk to him, and made nice tunnels for him under the bed clothes that he said were like burrows that real rabbits lived in. And they had splendid games together, in whispers when Nana had gone away to her supper and left the light burning on the mantelpiece. And when the boy dropped off to sleep, the rabbit would snuggle down close under his little warm chin and dream, with the boy's hands clasped close round him all night long. And so time went on, and the little rabbit was very happy, so happy that he never noticed how his beautiful velveteen fur was getting shabbier and shabbier, and his tail coming unsewn, and the pink rubbed off his nose where the boy had kissed him.
Good morning. I told Susan that I had to speak before they sang, so you'll have to bear with me because it's not easy for any of us who have been part of this community. And as you can see, tears seem to run in the family. I'm Jennifer Griffin, and I got to know Susan last year when Amelia, my daughter Amelia, was in the 4th grade. And I didn't know Lance Corporal Niall Coti-Sears personally, but I got to know him when Amelia came home from school one day and said that he had been there to teach the kids in the 4th grade PT. And she told me about the Spider-Man crawls, and all that they had done running around the playground with Niall before he deployed to Afghanistan. When I heard that he had been here, it took my breath away because every day I work at the Pentagon, I have covered, I've covered these wars for the last 12 years. Every day in my inbox, I get death notices from the Department of Defense, and I never can delete them because I somehow think that if I just keep those notices, that somehow these young men and women will live on. So on the day that I heard that Niall had been killed on June 23rd, 2 days after his 23rd birthday, it took my breath away. I was actually en route to the Pentagon to interview the Marine Commandant. Circumstance had it. I, like today, couldn't get through that interview, and I cried through the entire interview with the Marine Commandant. And you're not supposed to cry with the Marines, as Colonel Coti will tell you. But every day that I walk through the halls of the Pentagon, the Marines ask me about Miss Coti and how she's doing, and they will always remember Niall. I was speaking to Colonel Coti this morning about what Niall was doing that day in Afghanistan. He was deployed to a very dangerous part of Afghanistan. It was Sangin, which will probably go down in Marine history as one of the toughest battle zones. It was in Helmand Province, and I knew Sangin because I'd been there with another Marine general, the only general in the last 12 years of war who's lost a son in battle, and it was in Sangin. It's a very dangerous place. But Colonel Coti was telling me what Niall was doing that day that he was killed. He had taken a group of 15 Marines out to clear roadside bombs and improvised explosive devices, all of which we know too much about these days. And they had very successfully cleared the route, and they were on their way back. And he had led them, as he always did. He was a rifleman. He didn't have to walk point, but his unit mates always said he always volunteered for the toughest assignments and always put himself in danger to protect his fellow Marines. And he was on his way back, and he stepped on a surface that he had walked on before. Clearly the insurgents had placed that mine on the way back, and that is how he was killed. But I have a letter here from the First Lieutenant Kenneth Conover, who served with Niall, and I'll just read a portion of it. But he says, "Neither I nor the Marine Corps could ask for a finer young man to serve alongside. The fighting that took place the previous 2 days was more fierce than any Marine unit had seen in years. Your son distinguished himself time and again under enemy fire. His death, while tragic, was honorable and fearless. He died selflessly, fighting side by side with his brothers in the platoon." I remember when Amelia came home from when Niall had taught them PT, and she described to me last night one of the exercises they did, and it was a Marine push-up where a Marine, and in this case the 4th graders, lay in a plank, and one on top of the other lay on top of each other, and that first Marine lifted up those other Marines. Niall lifted up those Marines that day. This rock garden will be a tribute to him, and it will lift up so many others. So today's a celebration. Thank you for being here, and thank you, Ms. Coti.
Sing it, don't worry about a thing. morning, everyone. I am privileged to be the principal of this elementary school, and I have to say the best elementary school in the District of Columbia. And I truly feel that when I look around the crowd, I see parents, community members, elected officials, and I want to recognize Phil Mendelson, the City Council Chair, is here with us today, and also Mary Che, Ward 3 Councilman, is also here today as well. Also, I want to recognize former principal and assistant superintendent for our cluster, Jackie Gartrell. And like I said, when I look around the crowd and I see the amount of support, I think about many hands make light work. In this garden, a lot of people contributed and participated, and I want to share some of the people who, it's in your program, detailed information, but Mary Belcher for providing her art for invitations, Morgan Stallard, who not only supported our landscaping efforts here, he does all of the landscaping for Eaton Elementary School. The John Eaton Social Committee, who supported in so many ways. The John Eaton Homeschool Association, who donated money and funds to support this project. Nadine Holloway, who's the director of the Children's Choir at St. Mark's Episcopal Church. Mark Jenkins from Johnson's Flower and Garden Center. Michael Ross, who designed and constructed the 2 Asian-inspired benches that are a part of the garden. Mary Pat Rowan, who helped with a variety of plantings and bulbs surrounding the landscape. Amina Tron, who's a personal friend of Susan Cody, who provided the stone and the metal chime. And the metal chime is located up in the tree, so if you visit the garden, you'll look up. You will hear it when the wind blows. It's beautiful. Also, the Junior Scout Troop 2613, who are made up of, that's composed of 4th and 5th graders from John Eaton. These girls did the final plantings in the garden, and we're very excited. Also, our 4th and 5th grade dedication choir, and I definitely want to send out a huge thank you to Amber Walson and Sarah Lavezzo for their efforts today. And as Susan Cody mentioned earlier, none of this would have been possible without the vision and work of Mary Nesnick. She put in countless hours to organize so many people and to pull all of this together. So I would like everyone to recognize Mary one more time. And the other day I walked out during dismissal, and it was, if anyone's at dismissal at Eaton, there's a lot of excitement at the end of the day. The kids are excited about learning. The teachers are excited that the kids sometimes are leaving. And there's just a hustle and bustle around this school that's only can be described as Eaton. And after the crowd left, I saw it was a 4th grader and a 1st grader. And they were they're not family, but the 4th grader was helping the little girl tie the shoe. And then they were reading a book together, sitting on one of those benches. And I think for years to come, that's the memory that I will have, is students enjoying the garden in a very peaceful way, and it's connected to learning. And John Eaton is just a very special place. And I really want to thank everyone for coming out today to support. And I'm going to turn it over to Nadine Holloway, who's our guest conductor for the final number. And is Nadine, I'm looking, oh, here she is, come on out. And she is doing this so that some of our staff members, we have some singers in the group, they're going to be participating for the final song.